Chag Sameach. Recording in progress, good.
Okay, so shall I start now?
Please.
I forgot all about it. It's Temple Israel Hillbrow, Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm still trying to get the Jacob okay, I've got it now. So,
there you go. There you go.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I start again. I'm Reva Foreman, Temple Israel, Hillbrow, Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm the chair, and it really is great that after our Chagim, we now are able to start again with our wonderful Hebrew lessons, learning to read the actual alphabet. So when we do our services, the alphabet and ourselves, we can communicate instead of reading just phonetically. Over to our more than incredible teacher, Lael Bethlehem.
Thank you, Reva. Hello, everybody. Chag Sameach, everybody. So I just want to say that the Yom Tovim were lovely. Really, I think we had wonderful services for Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur. There was a beautiful Shabbat Shuvah service that Reva led, along with a whole lot of international rabbis, fantastic Chazan, everything. And then these last few days, I believe that many people in the congregation have been involved in the Sukkot and the Simchat Torah services, which I was not involved in, because I got the chance unexpectedly to travel to Ireland. And then came back. Yeah, so I was in Ireland. I was in Dublin this time last week.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Robin was in New York. But anyway, firstly, just to say kol hakavod to those who managed the Sukkot services, Simchat Torah. I hope those were all wonderful. Simchat Torah is, of course, a most beautiful chag that involves dancing with the Torah scrolls, and it's the kind of chag that is really best done in person. And as we said at the end of Yom Kippur this year, next year in Hillbrow. That's what we really hope for. So anyway, great. And thanks to everybody for all of the participation and support during the holidays. And absolutely lovely to have all these chagim. And as I remember Rabbi Saar saying one year, wonderful to have all the chagim, but thank God, as he put it, for the blessed routine. We can go back to our blessed routine. So we're also happy for our blessed routine that we can go back to. And also we seem to be out of the third wave. Thank you for that. And absolutely great that some semblance of normality is returning. Now, we also have been very anxious about Peter Joffe. Peter is still not well. I understand that he's still in ICU. Is that right, Jacob? Marion? I think he's still in ICU.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, he's still there.
He is still in ICU.
So that's very, very worrying. And I guess we're just going to have to hang in there and support Harold as much as possible.
Good news is that he's conscious, and he has communicated with Harold.
So Harold's actually been to visit him.
Hey?
I say Harold's been to visit him.
That's
Exactly.
wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful news. Thank God. So let's just keep hoping and praying for Peter's recovery. And also to say that even through the Yom Tovim, the Hillbrow, Temple Israel Hillbrow feeding scheme has continued, both Beit Emmanuel and our shul carrying on. Marion, in particular, playing such an important role there, and absolutely wonderful, and kol hakavod to Marion and all of those involved. And we just have to keep going, feeding people as much as we can. All right, so now, lovely to be together to think about Hebrew again. I want to
lost
just
my book.
Okay. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a few more of the photocopy papers made, just in case people need replacements and whatever. But what I thought we would do tonight is go back to chapter 7. We did do, towards the end there, we did chapter 8 and 9, but really we did it very, very quickly. And in particular, lesson 9 is actually very difficult because it's the Shva. And although in the end, it's like driving, in the end, it's quite obvious what the Shva does. But in the meantime, it's quite difficult to get used to. And also the final letters. So we did chapter 8 and 9, lesson 8 and 9 very, very quickly. Basically, we ran out of time before Rosh Hashanah. But what I thought we might do tonight is, firstly, I'd like to just ask everybody how they found it trying to read over Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And secondly, so when we've had a bit of chance for everybody to say, I thought we might go back to chapter 8, just because we haven't been together for a while, and just revise chapter 8, and then next week move on sort of slowly and clearly to chapter, what was it? Yeah, 9 and 10. So sorry, so lesson 9 is the Shema, lesson 8 is the final letters. I thought we might go back all the way to chapter 7, which is the resh and the shin and the new vowels, the u, and then so that we can then get back onto the other more difficult things. But if people feel that they're doing quite well, we could also go on to lesson 8. So let me just quickly go around the room and find out from everybody, how did you find reading the Siddur over the Yom Tovim? Did you try the Hebrew? How did it feel? Did you feel that you could read? Was it all just too overwhelming when you actually look at the letters and it's all quite quick? So let's just go around and hear from everybody. Rita, should we start with you?
Yeah, I'm going to be quite honest with my tension and uptightness and having to actually see people do things I didn't even try, Lael, forgive me.
No, nothing to forgive. I mean, you had very much on your plate, Riva, but absolutely fine. So we just press on. Please, God, like this time next year, it'll all be easy.
For the 2 seconds not in the services where I was looking, I could read the letters.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Riva.
I didn't read during the services.
No, it is difficult. And also, it's up on the screen. It's quite difficult. Let's hear what everybody's experience was. Peter, what about you?
So, yeah, I tried. I tried sort of some of the letters, but I was so slow. And by the time I actually got one word out, the whole, whatever it was finished.
Moved on.
So I tried, but you know, I couldn't keep up. It was too quick.
Okay, but you were recognizing letters.
Yeah, and every now and again I got a word, but for the most part it was like eek.
Yeah, and you know what, the speed, you know, it's like everything, the speed will come later. But okay, great. Rob, tell us, I don't know if you were able to attend any service in America, but you were with us for Yom Kippur. Tell us how all that was.
It made a big difference for me. I also zoomed into Beit Emmanuel for Yom Kippur from New York. It was quite weird having Kol Nidre at midday, but it was worth it. And it made a huge difference to me because, you know, I had Morai Henya, so I was pretty good when I left Cheder and it all disappeared. And somehow this has brought it back, that I actually feel like I'm reading in real time with it. So it's made a big difference. It feels like that original layer has come up again with this to form like some knowledge base that I didn't even know I had.
Isn't that
I loved it. Thanks so much.
Okay, so you're following well. That's wonderful. And, you know, Kol HaKavod to Morai Henya. And amazing to think about the human brain, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that it's all in there. It's all in there somewhere.
And it was quite strange also to move from the transliteration to the real thing. And then I was like so easily going down that page. It was like I'd moved over to a different section. Yeah, it really made a big difference to me.
Well done, Robin.
Thank you.
Well, we'll all get there. Huh? We'll all get there. Mom, what about you? You're on mute now. How did you find the reading?
Okay, Lael, so a little bit like Robin, and in fact I knew Henya well too. She was wonderful, wonderful survivor and taught us all a lot other than Hebrew. But Lael, over the years, I've got to know some of the prayers, as you know, off my heart. But this time, and it was lovely sitting with Peter and Robin and Cassia, I found it much easier. But I think in a way I cheat because I know it off by heart. So sometimes I'm not reading it, I'm saying it. But it's certainly much better than it was, much better.
Fantastic. And you know, that thing that you've got in your head of knowing it off by heart and your eye, they can also work together. I always used to say to my bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah students that the problem is with the laning. If you know it off by heart, then you stop following with the yad. And then if you forget the off by heart part, then you don't know where you are anymore. So it can get in the way. But I think with the prayers, you know, you can get those things to work together. So that's great. That's great. Lawrence, what about you? How did you find the Yom Tovim? Were you able to follow? How did you feel about it?
I beg your pardon.
There you go.
I don't have much trouble following, but my level of Hebrew is extensive because I did live in Israel for those years.
Oh, you lived in Israel.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And so I, as I said, I joined the class to keep my eye in,
Right.
also to be with this lovely group of people.
Wonderful.
And yeah.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you, Lawrence.
I have an advantage.
And just remind us, when did you live in Israel and where did you live?
I lived all over. I lived in the Negev. I lived in Harei Yehuda. I lived in all places.
Wow.
You know,
Wow,
it's
that's fantastic.
not a very happy. Most of it was happy. Some of it was not happy at all. And but yeah. And that was many years ago. I came back, 40 years ago. So I wouldn't recognize it if I went there now.
Yeah.
It's modernized, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, good that you're keeping your eye in. Absolutely great. Jacob,
Thank you.
you were busy controlling. I don't know how you did it, by the way. I don't have Sarona's with you, but I thought you did the most magnificent job. There's Sarona. You both did the most magnificent job in just keeping everything going, particularly you, Jacob, and bringing in the music on cue. You know, really quite astonishing what you managed to do. And thank you so much, Jacob, for the tremendous service that you do for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you.
A pleasure.
Amen to that.
And tell me, Jacob and Sarona, how did you find the Hebrew, if at all?
Slow, but getting there.
Getting there. Okay. Fantastic. As long as we're getting there, that's all we want, right? And Marian, what about you?
Well, I think it was helped me a lot, especially with the pronunciation.
The pronunciation.
Get the pronunciation correct.
Right.
Yeah, it was actually very exciting
Oh, fantastic.
to be able to read properly from the
Can't hear.
Yeah, so we're losing Marian there, but I think she was saying it was very
The
exciting
signal's very bad.
to lead properly
Yeah.
with the Hebrew.
Hmm.
So absolutely great, Marian. Wonderful to see how you've gone from strength to strength with your Hebrew.
Hmm.
All right, so I think everybody is recognizing more, and you'll see, you know, at the moment your reading, you know, by necessity is kind of mechanical, probably. You know, that you're putting, it's like when you learn to walk, you put one foot in front of the other. And after a while, what will happen is it'll become much more natural.
Sorry.
No, not to worry, Marian. We realize it's a poor connection there. But I was just saying that at the moment, like for most people, the reading is mechanical, and it must be that at first. But after a while, what happens is it becomes more natural. And then you can start having fun with it and playing with it. And, you know, you'll be at a point where, say, Robin is now, or Lawrence, or Marian. So if you agree, and if Jacob allows me to share the screen, I think I'm going to go back to lesson 7. And let's just see how we're all doing with the actual reading.
Can you give us a page number, please?
Yes, I can give you a page number. Thank you. It's page 49. And what I'll do is I'll probably move quite quickly from the beginning of that chapter through the pages, but starting on page 49 for those who've got the book. All right, so what do we see here? We see that really in this chapter, make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So really, this chapter introduces the last letters of the alphabet. And really what is happening here is we are finishing the alphabet with the round resh, the shin that we had already learned with the dot on the right-hand side. We now learned the sin, which is the same, but the dot is on the other side. So s, like a samech, and the taf, which we had already learned. So that meant that from the point of view of the letters, we actually got to the end. So let's just run through them all and let me know if you've got any question about any one of them. Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Chaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pe, Fe, Tzadi, Kuf, Shin, and Sin, and Taf. So that's the whole Hebrew alphabet. You've learned the whole thing, except for the final letters, which we'll come to now. Then let's just revise the vowels we had already learned. A, I, E, A, E, O, and O. And you'll remember that the O can either be the dot on top of the little stick, which looks like the vav, or it can just be slightly to the left of the letter. So as if it had the vav sitting there, but it actually isn't within our sight, but it's kind of implied. So O and O, those were the letters that we had learnt. So Re, Shin, Sin, Taf. Then if I go now onto page 50, we then learnt a new vowel sound. So this vowel sound is on page 51. And the new vowel sound has two different forms. So it can be written in two different ways, but it's the same sound, which is oo. Oo, as in zoo. And you can say oo two different ways in Hebrew. Either you take that vav and you put the dot in the middle. So it's like somebody kicked a ball now right into your tummy. And what do you say when someone kicks a ball into your tummy? You say, ooh. Or we can put the three dots in a little diagonal line that is at 45 degrees. So it's not straight and it's not horizontal, it's not vertical, it's at 45 degrees. So oo and oo. So that means, let's say you got the Zayin. Zayin plus oo equals Zu. Zayin plus oo equals Zu. Oo. So that was the new vowel that we learnt. And then from there, fairly easy on the bottom of page 51 to say Shu, Tu, Zu, Lu, Ru, Su, Mu, Ku, and Ku. And on the same vein, Bu, Du, Gu, U, Tu, Yu, Tsu, Su, Us, Ush, and Puk. On the bottom of page 3, Boot, Rude, Cool, Hook, Move, Poos, and Loot. And you can see at the bottom that they are trying to make English words. So I'm just going to tell Emilia that I'm teaching. She's in Cape Town. You can see at the bottom there that they're trying to make English sounding English words with line 3. So far, any questions on the letters or on the new vowels, which are oo and oo? Everybody see line 1, 2, and 3 and happy with it?
Mm.
Fabulous. Okay. So, I think what we should then do is just practice reading on this page, which is page 52.
Sorry,
And
Lael,
then-
can you just go back a little bit here?
Yes, sure.
I'm just a bit confused here with this dot. That one on top there,
Right.
on top of the verb. Is that an or?
That's an or.
Okay, so on top it's or, on top,
That's
and then the inside it's oo.
Ooh,
Okay.
so the ball hits you on the head, you say, oh, oh. Ball hits
And
you in
then-
your tummy, you say, ooh,
Okay,
or ooh.
thank you.
Good. So then let's practice that by reading these 3 lines aloud, because that's going to practice the oo and the or and various other things. So any takers for line 1?
I'll try.
Thank you, Robin.
Sure. U, o,
Good.
u, uva,
Good.
shu,
Good.
u,
Good.
shul,
Good.
shul.
Well done. Shul and shul. Very, very good. Line 2, any takers?
I'll keep going.
All right.
No, go, Reva. I just was
I
trying
don't want to
do
go
the
at
space.
all, but I'll
No,
go.
go on. You can
I
do
wanna
it.
run
You can
away.
do it.
Much
No.
appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
I run
And
away. Okay, let me try it. Shuv.
Good.
I'm getting upset now.
Yeah, don't worry.
Umi.
Good. Umi.
Uv.
Excellent.
Uma.
Good.
Ufi.
Good.
Ut.
Fabulous, Reva. There you were reluctant, and look, you got 100%. Fantastic. Well done. Peter, are you brave enough to try line 3?
Yes.
Ash. Parat? No, what is that?
It's a v, but you're not wrong to say resh, because it could be a resh, but it isn't. It would be better if you had it right in front of you. It's not parat, it's pavat.
Oh, is it a T?
No, the end one is a T. So the middle one.
No, so it's pavat.
Pavat, good.
Okay. Port.
Good.
Port.
What's the middle one?
Pov.
What's your middle letter there?
Oh.
Ooh.
Yo.
Ooh, so it's in the tummy, right?
Oh, it's
so
an oo, sorry. Poot.
Poot, good. Now
Poot.
pause a second for me. Well, you see what you've achieved here is you distinguish between the vav as a vav,
Yeah.
the o, and the u. So pavat, pot, put.
Poot.
Yeah, so well done. And that's what they're trying to get your eye to do, is to say that's a va, that's an o, and that's an u. That's what your eyes got to start recognizing. That's a va, that's an o, and that's an u. Good, so let's go on to
So this is an uto.
U, second letter.
Uvo.
Good, uvo, well done.
Yavod.
But the first letter is a?
Is it it's a vav, sorry.
Vav.
Va, Vavo.
And what's the vowel?
Oh, vavu.
D. Vavud.
Vavud.
Good.
Sorry.
No,
Vavud.
but you're getting there. So the first one is a va, and that one is an u. Va, would.
Vavud. And vavo.
Excellent. So you see, if you look at the last three, u, vo, va, would, va, vo. So what they're training your eye to see is that is an u, that is an o, that is a va, that is an u, that is a va, and that is an o.
Yeah.
So this thing called the vav, the little stick figure, can be a va, it can be an o, and it can be an u. When it's by itself with no dots, it's a va. When it's got the dot in the middle, it's an u. When it's got the dot on top, it's an o. So quite a lot to absorb there, but well done, Peter. And I hope everybody can see all. I'll just read it through again. Line 3: pavat, pot, put, uvo, vavud, vavo. All right. Any questions, anyone?
May I add something here that I use in the money corner?
Please.
When the dot is on top, the way I learned it was, and if anyone's had a migraine, and I think most of us have at one stage or another, and someone says, how are you? Oh, my head is so sore.
Right.
Clasping your forehead and rubbing it. Oh, my head is so sore. So if that is a dot on top, your head is sore, and that's the
well done. Lovely. Oh, my head is so sore. Very well done. That's a good way to remember it.
Work for someone else.
Thanks, Lawrence.
That's right. Excellent. Okay, so that is page 52. So 53 is just a few exercises. They're quite fun if you like doing them. But I think what we should do is move on to page 54, which is basically now practicing everything. So pages 54 and 55 and 56 are practicing everything that we've learned so far, which is almost everything, right? So aside from these funny things called final letters, and the other funny thing called the shva, which is a silent vowel, whoever thought, you've now learned everything. So to the extent that you can read pages 54, 55, and 56, you can pretty much read Hebrew. And then, yes, we're still going to get through the final letters as well as the shva. But this represents pages 55, 54, 55, 56, represent like really 90% of Hebrew. 90%, I would say, of Hebrew. So I don't know if it's going to be boring to just keep asking people to read through. And also we are a little short tonight in that Harriet and Casey haven't joined, and I must definitely catch up with them. So maybe let's do it like this. I'll read one line and somebody else read alternately. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. So let me start with the first line, because let me take the first line because it's nice and easy. So just see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get through all the situations where you might become confused. So rak, dak, rish, dosh, rav, ras, rat, and duck. Any questions about line 1?
So the second word is duck and the last one's duck, and they completely just confusing having that aleph stuck in there.
That's right, and that's why they do it, because they just want to draw your attention to the fact that if an aleph has nothing, has no vowel, then
it's just
nothing to say.
Okay.
Nothing to say. So duck and duck. So, Good. So the second line is a lovely one. It's got that beautiful letter tsa, sadi in it. Anybody willing to try? Ma, are you willing?
Ja. Sur,
Good.
sud,
Good.
or,
Which or? Well done.
or, aid,
What's the vowel?
aid.
No. Look at the vowel again.
Ood.
Ooh. It's the ooh. It's the second kind of ooh.
So it's
So it's
ood.
wood. That's right.
Or, vor. That's just
Okay.
or. That's
Or.
silent. So it's or.
That's right. Well done. Or that's the real Hebrew word or, lat or chadash or.
Yeah. And odd.
Good.
And this 45-degree one again. Sud. Yeah.
So what is it?
Sud.
Sud. Excellent, Ma. Sud. So there's the oo. There's the oo and there's the oo. Both say oo. There's the o and there's the o. Both say o. Sur, sud, ur, ud, or, od, and sud. Very well done.
Sud.
Volunteer for line 3. Anybody?
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you, Riva.
There are a lot of dots on my screen. Sorry, sieve. Is that right?
That's right. Siv is correct.
Sieve,
Good.
sid,
Good.
sit,
Say.
save,
Save. Well done. Save.
shear,
Not share, but.
sear, sorry, sear,
Well done. No, well
Make
done.
mistake.
Well done, Riva. Well done.
save, sade,
Save.
Save.
Well done.
and sieve,
What's
save,
the- Save. Well
Save.
done.
sorry.
Well done. No, you know, they laid all the traps for you and you
Yeah.
nearly fell into some of them, but you managed
Yeah,
to avoid them. Well done. So I'll just run it through it again.
Yeah.
Sieve,
Sieve.
sid, save, sear,
Sear.
saved,
Save,
and save.
Say.
Yeah. Yeah.
got it. Yeah,
Thank you, Riva. Well done.
thank you.
Any volunteer for line 4?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Robin.
Kos,
Good.
kus,
Good.
bosh,
Good.
kot,
Good.
kush,
Good.
kos,
Good.
kosh.
Excellent, Robin. You are really reading very nicely.
Thank you.
Kos, kus, bosh, kot, kush, kos, and kosh. And the last line I'll do. Again, they're just trying to lay a couple of traps. Asa, asa. So you see what they've done here? They've spelled asa and asa. There's not a single letter in common between asa and asa. Isn't that interesting?
Wow, it's weird.
Because
No
that's
common.
an ayin, a sin, and a he. Asa. Here they've used an aleph, a samech, and an aleph. Asa. Asa,
Wow.
asa. Isn't that fascinating? Exactly the same sound, exactly the same word in sound, completely not a single letter the same. Oh, and look, here's another one. Well, this one is asha.
Asha.
Asha. So again, exactly the same, except that it's a sh instead of a s, and again, a different set of letters. Asa, asa, asha. Asach, atat, sa, right, sa, sa, Very weird. Sa. Asa, asa, asha. Asach, atat, sasa. Sasa. Okay, so then they ask you to do the same. They give you English words and they say, write it as many ways as you can. So you could take, say, sofa, and you could write it with a samech, with a sin, with a hay at the end, with an aleph at the end, or with an ayin at the end. So you could do the same little trick. Now, we come to something that will make much more sense because these are real words from the prayer book. So I think everybody here will recognize them much more readily. So these are no longer trying to sort of demonstrate or trap or get us to, what's the word, to sort of recognize certain things, but now these are real phrases. Marion, shall we ask you to do line 1? I don't know how your connection is at the moment.
I think it's okay.
No,
Not good.
not good. Don't worry.
All right. Thank you, Marion, for trying.
No.
No,
No,
the internet is not our friend today.
No.
but we know Marion can say everything perfectly.
We do, we do. It would just have been nice to hear her. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know whether Lawrence, Jacob, and Sarone, if any of you wish to come in, please do. Otherwise, I'm going to just press on. Okay, so I'm going to read line 1. Gadol. Ha. Gadol. Ha. Gibor. Ha. Nora. Now, the only traps they laid here was they put a dot into the gimel, and they all 3 gimels, and they put a dot into the nun. And those dots, we must look in the prayer book. I don't think those dots appear in the prayer book. But anyway, if you see dots in letters like that, your eye eventually just comes to ignore it. Gadol, Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora. Line 2. Now here we started to get very long words. So I think the trick with long words is just to take it 1 letter or perhaps 2 letters at a time. And what I used to do with my students is to actually cover up the subsequent part of the word with your finger, because it can be quite overwhelming. So if it looks like too much, just cover the rest and just start with 1. Aleinu. That's right. Aleinu. Avinu.
It's funny, Leo, when you know the words, you recognize them much quicker.
Really? Yeah. Do
You know
you?
them by ear, then you read it straight away. It's funny.
Here it is. Aleinu, and you don't have to be mechanical anymore. Aleinu.
Exactly.
Avinu. Kolenu. Shema kolenu. Kolenu. Imanu.
Iman.
Line 3. Now you'll start really seeing these. Marion's just letting me know that it's bad weather where she is. Please, God, bring some rain, Marion.
Yeah.
But thanks for trying.
I hope it's rain.
What you say, Mark?
I hope it will bring the rain.
Yeah,
But
please, God.
Yeah, Sukkot rain.
Yeah. Ata echad. Now here's an interesting one. Here's an interesting one. You see that dot there? It's got 2 jobs. Reva, can you read that word for us?
I'm scared.
Don't be, just try.
You know, and it's not Shema because the things underneath is an A, it's not an A.
That's right. Just start with the first letter.
Oh,
It's M.
Good. And where's its vowel?
Hasn't, Oh, you think it's above the other one and it should be there?
Yeah.
That sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Moshe.
Yeah.
Well done, Reva. Now, what
It's
you
out of sheets.
what you realized is that that dot has got two jobs. It's an or
Mm.
and it's a shin.
Mm.
That's doing two jobs. So actually by rights, there should be two dots there, but that would really be too much for the eye, right? So they just have one dot. It's an or and it's a shin. Moshe. Moses. Moshe, there he is. Zot. So here again, there's the vowel above. Zot. V'zot haTorah. And what's the next word?
HaTorah. No.
HaTorah, that's right.
Yeah.
Zot HaTorah. Ata echad, Moshe Zot HaTorah. And it's really true what you say, Reva, because the words are more familiar, you will just start seeing them.
Yeah.
And you won't have to be so mechanical about it. I mean, I find that if I read from the Torah, if a word is a word I know, it doesn't matter whether there's vowels or not, I can read it. If it's not a word I know, then I've got to try and mechanically put it together. But as you become familiar, then, you know, your eye just sees it.
I can see that. Yeah.
Ki, bo, shavat, mikol, bara, latet, lo. The first four words were all from the Kiddush. Ki vo shavat mikol malachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Right, so it's from the first chapter of the Torah, which is in the Kiddush. Vayireh vayivoker. Ki vo shavat mikol malachto. And then bara, asher bara, he created. Latet lo. Ki bo shavat mikol bara latet lo. And finally, line 5, bottom of page 54, dor va dor. Al kol ha chesed a Sita. Dor vador, al, kol, hachesed, asita. So, I hope you can see that your eye just really does get used to it. So, this is now page 55, and both 55 and 56 are made up of real Hebrew words. Many of them are from the prayer book. So it is 20 past 6. Are people okay to go on for another 10 minutes? Fantastic. So let's just push on, because then we will have revised lesson 7, and next week we can start with our final letters, and then we can start mastering those. So let's see how we do with these. Dear. So you can see they put a dot into the daled. Over time, your eye will just know that it's got no job. Adir. Az. Ira. Efes. Efes means 0. Arav. Omer. Now, I'll just take this opportunity quickly just to point something out about the way Hebrew works. I'm going to take these last 2 words. And what I want to tell you about how Hebrew works, and this is a great thing to know once you start getting into Hebrew grammar and actually manipulating the words, is that every word in Hebrew has a root, what they call a shoresh, a root. And the root is usually 3 letters around which the word is built. So you take the 3 letters, it's called a root. I kind of think of it more as a skeleton. And then you add things at the beginning or at the end to change the form of the word, to make it, for example, past tense, future tense, or various other things that you can do with the word. It's a little bit like Zulu. In isiZulu, there's like a word, and then you add things at the beginning and the end, prefixes and suffixes, and that changes the nature. Well, it changes the what the word is doing, but it doesn't change the meaning of the word. And what's nice about that is that once you have to start trying to translate, if you don't know a word, you just try and see if you can see the 3 letters in the middle, and then often you can figure out what the word actually means. So let's take this last one here, Omer. Does the word Omer remind you of any word that you've heard in shul?
Yeah. What? But I've heard it. Omer.
Okay.
Omer's
Maybe-
the Omer's the festival, isn't it?
The counting of the Omer.
Counting, yeah.
Yeah, sorry to say, but I think that's with an I in.
Oh,
Vayomer. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor. Anyway, that's a very frequent phrase in the Torah, particularly in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor. And God said to Moses. So it comes from the word Omer, which means to say. And God said to Moses. Amarti means I said. So later on, you'll get to see how these words take the middle skeleton, the root, and then you add and subtract and all of that. And then it really helps with translation. Okay, enough of that. Let's go on to line 2. Basar. Bocher. Borei. As in Borei Pri Hagafen. Bayit, as in house. Baal and Boker. Any questions there? Davar, Devek, Dover, Dat, Dakar, Darash. And then maybe let me take the last 2 lines. Let's take the last 3. Uvo, Uvor, Umaher, Umul, Ufanav. Any questions there? Sorry. Please excuse me, everybody. I can see Amelia is very anxious to get me. Just a second.
Yeah.
Mila? How's it? Fine. I'm just finishing my class. Can I phone you in 5 minutes? Is everything okay? Sorry about that. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Sorry, everybody. So let's do lines 9 and 10, and then we'll call it a day.
No, one thing,
Yes,
at the
please.
end of line 8, that letter right at the end, you didn't pronounce it. You said, is it not pronounced?
No,
Or
it is pronounced. It's a V.
Oh,
Ufanav.
oh,
It's a
thank,
Thank
didn't
you,
hear the
Rita.
now. Thank you, yeah,
No problem. Ufanav.
thanks.
Any other questions about line 8?
Mm-mm.
Let's do line 9. Sagur. Sod.
Sword.
Sa'ar. Sefer. Anybody know what a sefer is?
Sefer Torah.
That's right. Book. Sefer is a book. Sefer Torah, the book of the Torah. Saviv. Seder, as in the Seder.
Seder.
And you remember that you know that the word Sidur,
Hmm.
the word Sidur, you can see that's the root of it. Seder, Sidur. You would just change the word Seder, you would add a Yud and you would add the U from Seder and you'd get Sidur. Now, so what does that tell you about what the word Sidur means? What is, so we know the Seder in Pesach. What does the word Seder mean, the Pesach Seder? Anybody know? Why do we
Order
call it a Seder?
means order.
It means order. Well done, Lawrence. It means order. So on Pesach, we go through a specific order, don't we?
Yeah.
So it's called a Seder, and we go through a particular order. And what do you think the Siddur is? Same story. We're going through a particular order. When we pray as Jews, we don't say the first thing comes to our head. We go through a particular order. It's called a Siddur. It follows a Seder. And that's how the root works, the little skeleton. Line 10. Nusu, Nachat, Ner, Netzach, Nasi, and Nisa. I'll do it again. Nusu, Nachat, Ner, Netzach, Nasi, and Nisa. So what I suggest for homework is lines 55, 1 to 10. We've done some of them now. And then on line 56, 11 all the way to 20. Basically, if you can read those two pages, pages 55 and 56, then it means you've mastered everything that we've learned so far. So that then really means we can move on to the final letters, you know, at the right time. So I will send out a voice note with 55 and 56, and I would like to ask everybody to please spend a little bit of time if you possibly can. I know people are Peter's moving and there's all sorts of pressures, but if you possibly can run through page 55 and 56 between now and next Tuesday, that would be great, because then we'll all be hopefully at that level. And I'm going to ask Casey and Harriet. I can see I've had messages from both of them now. I'll ask Harriet and Casey to see if they can also get up to that same point, so that by next week we are all done with lesson 7, and then we can go on to lessons 8 and 9 quite easily. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck for everything you have to do this week. Try and squeeze in page 55 and 56 on top of everything you have to do. And well done for all the good progress.
May I add a personal note?
Please, Lawrence.
My association with Hebrew goes back to when I was a lighty. Before my bar mitzvah, I was associated with my family with the formation of Temple Sinai in Germiston.
Wow.
The late Wayne. I was still in shorts when we went there. And,
amazing.
That the inculcation, and he was a very good teacher, Izzy Wayne.
Izzy Wayne, gosh.
An enormous impression on me. And the prayers somehow have always stuck. And it's one of the reasons. Thank you.
Interesting.
Now, Lawrence, that's a wonderful thing that you say that. Firstly, because I had forgotten all about Temple Sinai in Germiston, that it ever even existed. Imagine that.
Never
on the East
heard of
Rand,
it.
another shul, hey?
No.
And also because it's wonderful to remember Izzy Wayne. I remember him very well, Zechrono Livracha. And I remember his son Stanley very well. I don't know if any of you ever knew Stanley. Of course, my parents knew him well. Stanley was the son of Izzy and Betty Wayne. He was a most wonderful guy. He was with us in Maginim. He was a bit older than me. He was about my sister's age, or maybe a bit older than my sister. He became a pilot, very talented young man. He became a pilot, and in 1980, what year? 83, 84, 84. Around that time, he was he flew for Air Bophuthatswana. He was flying an airplane from Bophuthatswana to Johannesburg, and as he came over Wadeville, as he flew the plane over Wadeville, he was the pilot. The plane blew up.
Good God.
The plane blew up, and Stanley and all of the passengers died.
How awful.
Yeah.
Oh, what a horrible story.
Terrible story, but I remember it like it was yesterday because he was a good friend of all of ours and a wonderful man. And he had these fantastic parents, Izzy and Betty Wayner. And Izzy's the person Lawrence was talking about.
You know,
and they
Lael?
were- yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this story that Lawrence has told us about the shul, because I didn't grow up in this movement, is mentioned in Erwin Manoim's book.
Mhm.
I'm going to
Good
check
question.
with him. It may be left out.
Should be, because we belonged to the great shul, the Orthodox shul, and there was a split. And one of the splits happened because my late dad was wounded in during the war. And I don't want to talk politics, but it just turned out better for us that we became reformniks. That we could sit
Ah,
together.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because remember, at that stage, Lawrence's family and mine were not connected at all, but that's another story.
Okay, now we would like to hear that story sometime.
It's a very
Anyway.
funny story. Thank you. Good night to everyone. On Friday night, we've got the most wonderful, wonderful person taking our service, and that's Hilton Ellis, who you know grew up at Temple Israel Hillbrow, and so the service is very formal and traditional, just the way Weiler did it, and
Wonderful.
super. So please, those of you who'd like to, please join us on Friday night. And on Saturday morning, please don't run away. But anyway, it's just me and Marion.
Thank you, Reva. Lots of love. Kol hakavod to everybody. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lael.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lel.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Reva. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, darling. Thanks, everyone.
Nice to see everyone.